NBC News is forced to walk back an explosive story on the Michael Cohen investigation. The network claimed federal investigators wiretapped President Trump's personal attorney. NBC then issued a major correction saying the feds were monitoring who Cohen was talking to, but not actually listening in. The president tweeting, quote, "NBC News is wrong again. They cite sources which are constantly wrong. Problem is, like so many others, the sources probably don't exist. They are fabricated fiction. NBC, my former home with The Apprentice, is now as bad as fake news. CNN, sad." Let's bring in our media panel today. Sarah Fisher is a media reporter for Axios. Beverly Hallberg is president of District Media Group and host of the Filler Words podcast. Thanks, both of you, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Beverly, NBC says, you know, their reporting team said they had two separate sources that have always been credible that gave them the information that, you know, Michael Cohen's phones had been wiretapped. If you've got good sources and you trust them, do you go with the story?
Well, I think they're making the whole claim by President Trump that fake news exists. They're helping him out with that claim quite a bit. They have to make sure their sources are accurate. And I would say what's even more concerning about this situation is obviously that they went ahead and printed it. But when they found out that it was not accurate, they left the story up for 4 hours. A retraction, we should see a major retraction, and I hope we see an apology. But we see a connection by many of these mainstream media outlets over the past year. There's a trend going on where it's trying to connect Trump or people in a circle, whether Attorney General Jeff Sessions, whether even Anthony Scaramucci, the former press secretary, trying to connect them all to Russia. And I think the more and more this happens, the more and more people believe President Trump when he says that it's all fake news.
So, Sarah, did the network screw up here, or did they just get burned by sources they trusted?
I mean, at the end of the day, it always comes down to the network having to report the news factually, and if they reported something that's wrong, it's on them. But look, Beverly makes a good point. Every time any member of the media, whether it's mainstream or not, but particularly mainstream, reports something that, you know, is not true, it gives the president ammunition to be able to call them out and say, hey, this is not right. And that's where this narrative about fake news media is really coming in. Every time something wrong goes, the president is able to tweet about it and let everyone know.
Yeah, and misinformation feeds to public distrust, doesn't it, Beverly?
Absolutely, and I will say when it comes to reporters, they're human. They do make mistakes.
Sure.
They should offer retractions, and we're in a very fast-paced news cycle where people are trying to beat other networks by getting stories out. But reporters do have a responsibility for those who read their articles, those who watch their news stations, to make sure that it's factual. And I also think that some of this reporting is leading to what I view as a sad division we see across America, where people think things that aren't really going on. It's not leading to actual factual information and hopefully getting us to the end of this Russia investigation, which regardless of what you think the president did, I think we're all ready to just know what actually happened.
Yeah, and we know that the Russians love disinformation. You know, they're very good at it. So, you know, as the next election is rolling around, Sarah, we might be seeing disinformation. And again, when people don't know who to trust in terms of news gathering, it sows the ground for that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's tough. As Beverly mentioned, I mean, it's on you to make sure that you have good sourcing and that you're double-checking everything that you put out there. But you make a great point. It's only going to get tougher, particularly as fake news evolves to not just be fake stories, but fake videos and doctored photos. Reporters are going to have to be vigilant with their sourcing to make sure that everything that they put out is 100% legitimate. Because if they don't, again, it gives the president ammunition to be able to call out the media.
Yeah, because apparently in this case, Beverly, they had their two sources who said, yes, this happened. Then they put it out there and start talking about it on MSNBC, and all of a sudden 3 sources call them and say, no, it wasn't that way at all.
And so, yeah, they need to make sure that their sources are credible. And also, we are not talking about a story that's just misspelling someone's name or the wrong city. We are talking about major news stories in the past year that are making the public think that there is illegal behavior going on. I mean, this is highly serious. When you take a look at some of the individuals who have had false reporting about them, this is illegal behavior that these news outlets are accusing them of and saying sources are accusing them of. So I think as a public, we also have a responsibility to call out news stories or news outlets that do not give us the facts, and I'm hoping that we see it in whether or not they visit those sites or turn on the station.
Beverly Hallberg and Sarah Fisher, our media panel today. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.